Hey guys, hope everyone's doing well. For my senior presentation, I'm going to tell you about a case that I'd received last semester at the beginning of the semester that I'm still currently involved in. And in case anybody has forgotten, I'm with Guardian Ad Litem, so I advocate for abused and neglected children. Okay, so the case I'm going to tell you about, petition of neglect was filed on July 23rd, 2019. um, Things that led up to the petition was problems with school, drugs, housing, and mental health. So as far as school, the young boy had missed 20 days of school, but 13 were excused. But the juvenile attendance council had intervened at that point, and they decided to set up a meeting with the parents, but neither parents showed up for the meeting. And so that was for the school part for the young boy. And then as far as drugs, the father had been busted by undercover cops 4 times for selling methamphetamines, and 2 of the times the young boy was around him during that. I'm not quite sure why nothing happened with the first time he was caught with the boy around, or and why they decided to file a second when during the second time. Excuse me, I'm getting choked up on my words. But they did file a petition because of that the second time, and also because the second time he was busted with his son, the mother was actually around the corner with the son in the car, and the cops came up to the mom, and she was clearly high, and there was a pipe filled with methamphetamines within the child's reach. So that was another part. The father also admitted to using an 8 ball twice a day, and the mother had also admitted to using hydrocodone without a prescription. So that covers a lot of the drug aspect right there. And as far as housing, the parents and the son lived in a 1 bedroom house together, and it was like extremely cluttered and not somewhere that they should be living because utilities were not always paid and on, and so that's what, and things like that. As far as mental health, the mom had been diagnosed with depression, PTSD, anxiety, and bipolar disorder. She had started treatment in July, but she was not consistent and stopped. But she ended up starting back shortly after, but she was still not consistent in getting her treatment. So that kind of covers like the mental health aspect for the mom. There was nothing listed as far as mental health for the father in all the notes that I had read. So now getting to the placement. Before I was involved with the case, right after the petition was filed, the young boy lived with his maternal grandmother and her significant other. Um, the young boy did not feel comfortable in that household because he was not close with his maternal grandmother, and she has health problems as well. So they started looking for other family placement options. So shortly after, when I took over the case, Jaden was placed with his paternal aunt, and he lived there for a little bit. I think it was about July to October is how long he lived there, but there was a lot of behavioral problems, and it just did not seem to be a good fit for him. And at one point, he lashed out on his teacher at school and became aggressive and physical. So the aunt did not feel that he should be placed there anymore because she has 2 kids of her own, and she was scared that he would become physical with her kids. So his placement changed in October, and he was placed with the foster home. And he stayed there, and he seemed to be doing good for the first little bit. It seemed as if she could get him to express his feelings more instead of being as angry. But there were also a lot of times of aggression and physical altercations with him and the foster parent, and there was also a lot of tension between the biological parents and the foster parents, with not good communication, and it just kind of messed with the placement. So the foster mom ended up deciding that he should not stay there anymore and he needed to find a new placement. So in the beginning of January, he was placed with another foster home where he is currently still staying at. He seems to be thriving in a two-parent home that also has another child, and a lot of pets, and he's been given chores and responsibility. And it seems that since they've had an autistic child before, they know how to handle him a little bit better. He is a high-functioning autistic kid, but he still needs a little bit extra work with social skills and just having a set routine. So they seem to be doing that very well. And due to the parents' lack of transportation right now, the foster parents have been very willing for visits to go meet them halfway or take him to them. So it seems visitation is happening more often and going well, and especially phone calls. So as of a couple weeks ago, we had a family team meeting, no child and family team meeting, and there was a lot of positive things said about the young boy, and like his eating habits have gotten better. His communication, he's made a lot more friends. He's not showing aggression as often, or they're helping him find better coping skills when the aggression is happening. So that seems to be, like I said, going very well. All right, next slide. So there's a family service agreement that every parent is supposed to sign. They don't always sign, but both parents have, in this case, have signed the family service agreement that DSS creates. So the family service agreement consists of steps that have been at high risk for that kind of address what parents need to do, like barriers on getting their child back. So the things that have been listed as barriers for the mother and father have been mental health and substance abuse, parenting skills, housing, and employment. So as far as mental health, both parents have been requested to take a comprehensive clinical assessment for substance abuse. At the end of the slide, I have a link that will give you a lot more detail about what that consists of and whatnot. So both parents have to take that, and both of them have taken it. So that is one step that they both have checked off. But recently, the father has tested positive on his last 2 drug screens. So he's been requested to take another CCA because in his original one, he said that he did not use drugs, that he just sold them, which is clearly not what is happening right now since he's testing positive. So a couple weeks ago at our child and family team meeting, he said that he was going to take his CCA after the meeting. We have not heard back from him or the doctor's office he was going to go take it at. So that's where that is. And the mom has taken hers, and she is doing well for the most part, except for the recent failed drug test a week ago. We have, the social worker and I have not discussed whether or not we want to send her for another CCA, because in her original one she did admit to drug use. So at this point we've just agreed upon to continue random drug screens for her to see if she can test negative and everything will be okay, hopefully. As far as as far as like mental health and substance abuse, they do the CCA. They also do a psychological evaluation, which is just seeing like where their current cognitive and emotional status is. And that was only for the mother. The father did not have to take that, and that's more to do with her mental health. And since he did not have anything prevalent, that's why he did not have to take that. And then also they are required to report some random drug screens. That's part of the mental health and substance abuse. So that's covered for that part. And as far as parenting skills, both parents have been requested to take the Triple P parenting class, which I have a link at the end of this slide that tells you more about that to save some time. And then they've also been requested to do the reproductive life planning class. And I also have a slide that gives you more information about that at the end to save a little time. Both the parents have taken the classes, and they seem to be showing, they've learned some skills throughout the classes like they're showing it during their visitation. So that's a good thing. It seems to be a positive thing that they've done. And as far as housing, the mother was living with her mom and significant other, and it wasn't as much of a stable housing for her and her son to live in. So she's been requested to find stable housing for 6 months or longer. And the same thing for the father. He's been requested to find stable housing 6 months or longer. The mother has recently found an apartment, and she's renting out a room and has a roommate, clearly. DSS did go check out the apartment and approve it. They were supposed to start Ryland's Laws visits and have the boy at the house with the DSS worker last week, but due to the mother's failed drug tests, they have taken back the Ryland's Laws visits at her apartment, and they are going back to supervised visitation through DSS, and the same for the father because of his failed drug tests. And as far as an employment, the mother has gained employment and stable employment for months now, but the father is still continuing to say that he is working odd-end jobs, and it's not consistent now because this is the slow time, so he's not been able to prove stable employment. Okay, next slide. So as far as like activities and services that the young boy is receiving, he is doing therapy at Pride bi-weekly. He just switched to a different Pride, so he does have a new therapist, but he's expressed that he feels better connection with his therapist and likes her better. So that seems to be something that is going very positively for him. And he does receive an individualized education plan at his elementary school because of his autism. And I've also included a link at the end that talks more about IEP. And he does go to church. He went to church at his last placement, and he's going at this one too. He seems to like it, and he expressed that he might be making a friend, so that's good. And as I previously mentioned, the placement he's at now, they do have a lot of animals. So the placement, the mother, she has been providing him with a list of some easy chores he can do to earn some money. So that seems to be going very well. That's kind of where I'm at right now with the case. So I guess if you have any questions, if I missed anything, hopefully I didn't. I try to keep it brief and to the point so that way my video wasn't too long. But yep, thank you.